This is Enzo. This is Lotus. If you're new to the channel, rather than sit here on the couch, the pups and I rather go to the park where it's more fun for them, it's more entertaining for you guys to be able to kind of get a glimpse into our day. And I think, well, yeah, it's mostly for the pups. Sit. Enzo, come. Lotus, come. Break! So one of the questions we get asked a lot is whether or not Enzo and Lotus are working line or show line. So first, Enzo and Lotus are really just our pets. We did not get them for a specific line of heritage, but I realize that is a big thing with German Shepherds. They breed them for different reasons. So to the best of our knowledge, Enzo and Lotus are both working line Shepherds. The thing is, there are many different types of German Shepherds, but as I've said, they are just our family pets. Now, in this video, we're gonna go over some of the differences, and while not an exhaustive list, I think it will give those of you starting out enough to go on to figure out which you would rather have for yourself. Break. Real fast, before we start today's video, I did want to say thanks to everybody who leaves comments and feedback on the videos. We love that. I know some of you have even gone as far as to like tagging us on like Instagram stories of like your pups watching the videos. That is freaking cool. That was the funniest thing I think we'd ever seen. So appreciate all that stuff that you guys are doing. First, we're going to talk about the show line. The show line was bred for people who admired the breed but wanted one that was a little bit calmer and a little less demanding. Break. This way. Show lines are typically larger than the working lines, which I think is maybe why people get confused with Enzo, because he is much larger. And while they may be less driven than the working line, perhaps less driven than the working line, they're still very active, smart, enjoy training, sports, and companionship, ultimately making them great pets as well. Physical appearance is where you will notice the most. They exhibit the traditional like slope back that you probably think of when you think of German Shepherds, perhaps, if you watch like dog shows and such. And their coats tend to be longer and less coarse. Enzo, what are you doing? Now, as a result of mixed breeding, you can find all sorts of variations of this, which further leads to a lot of the confusion. While we're not going to get into a lot of it in this video, one of the things we find important, or that we've learned, question-wise when asking the breeder, we went for an hour hike this morning. Over an hour actually. And that was 4 hours ago? They're running on fumes. Wow, really? Jeez.
A few moments later.
In general, if you are just trying to choose a pup for yourself, typically if you're wanting like a show line, you're probably are going to go more advanced into learning the differences and such. That being said, if you're looking to just get your first German Shepherd pup, more important perhaps than working or show lines is going to come down to just their overall demeanor, their health history, and perhaps any specific traits that are important to you. We did not do any of that when we chose ours. Now, let's talk about the working breed. Originally bred to work, break the working line as you might expect, have lots of energy, a high prey drive, and are very willing to do tasks that please the handlers. Additionally, they have extremely high pain tolerance and will typically run towards danger, not away from it, which is, you see that a lot with Lotus. Even though we know he's afraid of a lot of different things, he still runs towards them. So, very obvious in that case. Now, show lines need a lot of exercise as well, but working lines especially, because they are bred for that. So if you're going to have a working line German Shepherd, it needs to be in a family that is very active. And, you know, a lot of the content that we focus around, a lot of our suggestions have to do with being active with your pups and going places, doing things, whether it's exercise, whether it's going on hikes like we are right now, whatever that may be. And that is because they really need that. If not, they get, Enzo especially shows this trait, he gets very, we call it antsy, so we make fun of him, but really just doesn't know what to do with himself, basically. He's like on high alert almost. We'll be sitting on the couch and I'll just move and he's like, oh, we're going somewhere, we're doing something. So definitely got to be willing to be out in the cold right now, freezing. Granted, I would normally have gloves, but it makes it a little hard to maneuver the camera and such. So got to be willing to put up with that, minus the fact that you can wear gloves. Obviously, working dogs are going to be great for, you know, jobs, essentially, you know, whether that's police dogs, search and rescue, even more relaxing things, I guess, is how you know, like dog sports, like if you want to do things like that. Now, physically, working lines are typically smaller, more along the lines of Lotus, which is why Enzo can kind of be confusing to some people because of his size. So they have that straighter back, they're more compact, their hair is more coarse. Just like I said, Lotus is very much a very typical kind of look for that. I mean, Enzo is too. Enzo's just bigger version, essentially. That's kind of the one deviation that Enzo has. Now, as I said, because they are generally running towards the danger and everything, they are typically very confident dogs, brave, and naturally protective. Now, obviously, Lotus has the fear issues, but at the same time, even though we have determined that he is fear, he's still exhibiting a lot of those traits, because we've actually done some testing with this to determine that he only acts that way when either myself or my wife is with him. If he goes out in public with somebody who he's not too familiar with, he doesn't act that. He acts completely different. Does not have that reactiveness. He does not bark, doesn't do anything, because he doesn't feel the need to protect that person, basically, is what we've come to conclude with there. You know, not just being active, but for them to really be happy and content. Oh, somebody's coming. Heel, boys. Come on, let's go. Gotta keep ahead of them. Lotus, come. Really don't expect to have too many people at 8:30 on a weekday when it's pretty cold out. Lotus, come. Break. Go on. I really like this trail. It's one of my favorites in this park. You really feel like you're in the middle of nowhere. The only issue is this part's not too steep, but that goes straight down. There's nowhere for you to go there. That's obviously going straight up. There's not a whole lot of room if you try to pass people, so I'm basically just walking fast, stay ahead of them. I would have rather just kind of like pulled over and let them go by, but they're just not a good spot for it. All right, kind of got distracted there, so yeah, that's kind of what happens when you have pups. You know, I have everything planned out, I have everything the way I want it to go. But then somebody else comes. Could always do this from the safety of our basement, but it's just not as fun. So, really the only thing left with the working lines I wanted to say was that, you know, they're bred to work, to hustle, to be like that. So, aside from giving them a family that is active and going to do a lot of things with them, they still thrive best and have the most healthy lives when they are given activities, given like jobs or mental stimulation, essentially. You know, it's not that they have a job per se, but feel like they have a job in a sense. It is amazing the difference, like Enzo, when I mean, we do heel in the park and stuff all the time because we need to, somebody's coming or just whatever reason. But like when we go out in public and we go to heel, it's seriously like a light switch. He's like, all right, I'm in work mode, let's work. And it's completely different mentality. So I definitely, and I'm not saying you need to do that with them, but I think you need to find some sort of mental stimulation. We also do like the find game. I know some of you have asked for a video on that. We are gonna do a video on that. We might even do a live stream. I haven't decided. It kind of destroys the house and it's kind of hard to shoot because they're running around everywhere. So I'm kind of working that out a little bit. If I'm just gonna have several cameras, I don't only have the one camera, so I guess phones and the GoPro and stuff in different places. Or if maybe we'll just do a live stream. Lotus, out of the brush. Probably how we got the fleas. Or flea. Still got that video coming. I'm gonna go over that whole disaster ordeal that we dealt with, but we learned a lot, so I'm glad we did it, and I want to share that stuff with you. But I think that pretty much wraps up most of this video. So with that, I hope you got a lot of enjoyment out of this video and our videos in general. Again, we're not professionals, we're not trainers. We're just a family that have had shepherds for a few years now, and we just want to kind of relay that information onto other people who are perhaps new to the breed. We didn't know any of this when we got Enzo, and we knew more, but still not enough when we got Lotus, to be honest. So I just hope that our experiences and our knowledge provide you guys with some help. With that, subscribe to follow along. Instagram and Facebook links below. We're gonna finish our hike. I'm gonna put some gloves on, and we will see you guys in the next video. Enzo, say bye. Say bye.